Hello and welcome to Jrock's Babylon News for October 8th, 2025. And today we're going to talk, first of all, a lot about Motley Crue. Motley Crue has been in the news lately. Um, of course, a lot of people have been talking a lot about Motley Crue lead singer Vince Neil, who recently revealed that he suffered a stroke on December 24th, 2024. And, um, and the stroke affected a lot of mobility on the left side of his body. He was unable to walk and stand. He had to learn how to do all these things. And he was partially paralyzed on the left side of his body, and it really affected his mobility. In fact, Vince recently came out and also revealed that he learned from his doctors that in addition to the one stroke that he was aware that he had last Christmas Eve, that they did some other tests and they found out from looking at some brain scans that he had a total of four strokes, if you can believe that. Wow. Vince Neil, of course, is 64 years of age. Not, just a little shy of being a senior citizen, but obviously a stroke, no matter what your age, stroke really can affect somebody's health and how they get around. And so originally Motley Crue was supposed to do their Las Vegas residency last March and April, but that got pushed back until this September. And at the time that they pushed back the date of the residency, a spokesperson came out and just basically said that Vince was dealing with medical issues and that he had to have a procedure done, and they didn't really go into too many details. And again, people started asking, I wonder what's his health issue. And then also, earlier this summer around July, I think it was, right before Ozzy Osbourne died, there was a final Ozzy Black Sabbath concert, Ozzy's final performance that he was able to do. And it was also revealed that Motley Crue was one band that was asked to take part in the show, but they had to turn it down, and they didn't really say why at the time, except for Vince was going through some health issues. So this kind of explains, what's been going on with Vince Neil now. John 5 recently came out, and then after Motley Crue started performing, some of these residency dates in Las Vegas, around September 15th, guitarist John 5 came out and told some reporters, "Hey, Vince is killing it vocally, and he's doing a great job when you consider everything he's been going through." So we're glad to hear that Vince is on the mend. In fact, Vince recently came out and did an interview with Eddie Trunk of all people, and he revealed to Eddie that he's got a few things he's still working on, but he's about 90% recovered. So if that's the case, we really are happy to hear that Vince is doing so good. Motley Crue's also been in the news. Before anybody really knew what was going on with Vince or what exactly his health issues were that he was dealing with, there was a lot of speculation because for most of Motley Crue's career, I mean, the guys struggled, with their alcohol and drug addictions. Nikki and Tommy and Mick, they didn't struggle as much with the drug addiction. They all went to recovery. The guys have slipped over years, but Vince was the one that was really struggling with his alcohol addiction. And of course, sadly, a number of years ago that Vince really kind of was drowning in his sorrows in his alcohol addiction. Back in 1995 when his young 4-year-old daughter at the time, Skylar Neal, passed away from stomach cancer. And so when rumors started to get out that Vince was dealing with some medical issues, because they weren't really given the details yet of what was going on with him, a lot of people started to speculate that his drinking that has always been kind of out of control is just starting to kind of affect his health. And there are all these rumors. So If anything, I'm glad to hear Vince, as he reports, is about 90% recovered. That's great to hear, Vince. And it's great to hear that, those rumors about maybe his alcohol addiction, were creeping back. It seems like that's not the case. So I'm really glad to hear that. There are all kinds of rumors also going around because before they actually performed residencies in Las Vegas, which I believe some of the dates are still going on, but they started that in September. And after first couple of shows, people started saying, "Hey, Vince, Vince seems like he's, if you look at him on stage, he's a little slower maybe than he used to be, which is something you'd expect somebody that had a stroke like that. But he's up there, he's killing it vocally. So you got to give it to the man. I'm glad to see that he's doing his best. He's trying to deal with whatever he's going through with his health, and it sounds like he's come a long way. I mean. The man is amazing to even still be here. You think a guy that suffered 4 strokes in the last year or so, or 2 years or whatever the case may be. It's amazing he's still even here when you consider the fact that 3 of these strokes apparently he wasn't even aware he had. Reports are that the one he had on December 24th last year. Apparently was so bad he was in so much pain that he couldn't even get out of bed. He had to call his girlfriend, I think, who was with him at the time, helped him get out of bed. They had to call 911. He couldn't even move. He was so he was so terrified. You'd imagine you wake up and you're 64 years old and you're like, hey, I can't walk, I can't get out of bed. So you can imagine how Vince must have been feeling. And so to hear he's done these shows in Las Vegas, and that he's kind of getting back and he's up there on stage, I have all the respect for him, and I wish him only the best of luck with that. Now, also over the course of the last year, before any of this news about Vince suffering these strokes came out, it had been reported that Motley Crue was working on some new music, a new studio album. Well. They really haven't said too much about that, because again, before they revealed what was going on with Vince's health, it came out that those plans had kind of been, scrapped, and people started speculating that, they can't even, Vince can't even get out a new album. He can't even, belt out new songs, for a new album. And I was so excited when they released a 3-song EP, last year, but canceled EP. My only disappointment was, it's only 3 new songs. I wish it was a full album worth. And then at the time, I heard they were working on a new full-length Motley Crue studio album. Now, I'm hoping, none of the guys have really come out and said, but I'm hoping that they had some stuff that's recorded. Maybe down the line, they will release some stuff. There's also rumors floating around, and these are just rumors, so you never know what to believe. But there's been rumors that Nikki and Tommy are kind of, thinking that if Vince can, perform the Motley Crue songs the way he once did, that they may get another vocalist. There's been talk that Nikki's always, last several years kind of had the thought in the back of his mind that if Vince wasn't able to perform, like he used to, if his performance wasn't up to snuff. One name that he's kind of mentioned about the possibility of coming in and being the new Motley Crue vocalist is Creed vocalist Scott Strapp. And of course, these are just rumors at this time, so we don't really know. But then, again, like I said, whatever plans they had for a new studio album to come out this year, those plans have kind of been on put on hold, or put on, maybe it's going to happen, maybe it's not. We just don't know at this point. And so then we heard, a couple months back, in the summer, and instead of a new studio album, Motley Crue was going to release another greatest hits album. It's called From the Beginning, and it's got all the songs that you would think would be on a Motley Crue greatest hits collection. Pretty much all the MTV hits, and plus we get a new version of Home Sweet Home with Motley Crue and Dolly Parton um, recording an updated version of Home Sweet Home, that classic Motley Crue song from 1985. Oddly enough, in November, yes, folks, 1 month away, right in time for Thanksgiving, Motley Crue will also be putting out a 40th anniversary reissue of, of their classic 1985 album, Theater of Pain, which also featured the hit song Home Sweet Home. Now, the details of the reissue, not a lot of details about it have kind of been revealed at this point, except for the fact that you'll be able to get it on both CD and vinyl. So look for that. Now, before we wrap up this news report for today, I also, in reference to the new version of Home Sweet Home that Motley Crue did with Dolly Parton, I got some fun facts here. It appears that the new version of Home Sweet Home, in fact, did chart around the world. Now, interestingly enough, maybe because it's a Motley Crue song that was popular back in the day, and it's they've done various versions of the song over the years, so maybe it's one of those songs that people love, but they're also kind of tired of. I love it. In fact, in regards to the new Motley Crue album, the greatest hits one from the beginning, I love it top to bottom. Yeah, except for the new version of Home Sweet Home, it would have been cool if they could have done another new studio track or something. But you'd at least think maybe they had something in the vault they could have added, a previously unreleased track or two. That would have been cool, but we don't get that. So it is indeed just a greatest hits collection. Got a cool version of Home Sweet Home. Dolly Parton, she does her part to kind of country rock it up, but Dolly just kind of adds to the song. Doesn't take anything away. I do think Motley Crue and Dolly Parton, that's something we didn't really see coming. It's fun to hear this updated version of Home Sweet Home with Dolly Parton. And man, Dolly rocks. Dolly just kills it. That's all I can say. But as far as the new version of Home Sweet Home charting around the world, this is what's interesting. It actually charted higher in other countries. Okay, so this is what I was able to find in the U.S. on the Billboard chart. It peaked at let's see, number 21 on Billboard's Hot Hard Rock songs. It hit number 4 on the Hard Rock digital list. Number 1 on media-based classic rock songs in France. So that's kind of interesting, folks. Now, the other big news that's been going on in the hard rock metal world is, just a couple days ago, it was reported that another one of our rock and roll heroes, rock soldier Ace Frehley, of course, original Kiss guitarist, he apparently took some kind of fall in his home studio where he's been working on Origins Volume 3, which is, of course, the latest version of Ace putting out a collection full of cover songs. So I'm interested to see when the album gets released. Probably, I'm guessing at this point, maybe next year. Ace says that he thinks he could get it out this year. We'll see, Ace. I would love to get it out in time for Christmas. What a great way to end the new year. But we'll see. But apparently he took an awful fall in his home studio. Not much is being reported. There's some speculation, some reports that Ace, like Vince Neil, apparently may have suffered some kind of stroke. Now, Ace Frehley and his people aren't really saying any more than that he had a horrible fall, and because of the fall and some ongoing health issues, which kind of leads us to wonder what that may be. That Ace has decided against what he really wants to do, but he's following his doctor's orders. The doctor's ordered that Ace cancel the remaining of his 2025 tour dates, which he has done. Ace, who's very close and good friends with Eddie Trunk, has apparently talked to Eddie, and Eddie posted on his site today that while he's not at liberty to say what the health issues are that Ace is dealing with, that Ace has said that Eddie could pass along the news to the fans that he has not suffered from a stroke. So Eddie's kind of respecting, that he has Ace's permission to put that information out there, but that he's not going to reveal what the health issues are until Ace makes some kind of announcement. So also, oddly enough, in Kiss-related news, I was at work today, and then all of a sudden, all over Facebook and the internet, there were reports that Kiss Demon frontman Gene Simmons was in some kind of car accident in Malibu, California. It was quickly, everywhere you're reading on the internet that Gene was apparently in some kind of serious car accident. It said, well, the reports were mixed because some reports said that he was in a major car accident where he passed out while he was driving, but that he was rushed to the hospital after a serious car accident, but that he'd been released from the hospital and was recovering home. So I'm reading these reports and I'm thinking, well, okay, well, it could have been that serious, because he's been released and allowed to go home. So, at least his injuries weren't that major. At least I hope they weren't. And then shortly after, Gene puts a statement up online, basically thanking everybody for their kind wishes and their concern for him. But he wanted people to know that he was indeed at home, recovering from the accident. Apparently, what had happened is it didn't say what for, but Gene was on some new medication, and he drove, and the medication apparently had some kind of side effect, and which caused him to pass out while he was driving, and apparently he hit a parked car. Again, this is pretty much what's been revealed so far at this point. So the good news in regards to hitting somebody's parked car is hopefully nobody else was hurt. And Gene's injuries, I guess, were not that serious. Otherwise, he'd still be in the hospital. So we want to wish the God of Thunder, Gene Simmons, a quick and speedy recovery. And that's all I have to say. And I hope that Ace isn't doing too bad. I hope he has a speedy recovery, whatever he's dealing with. And thank God that Vince Neil is on the mend. And so if you haven't had a chance to check out the new Motley Crue album, again, it's a greatest hits collection, but it'll have all your favorite hits. Everything from, as we mentioned, a new version of Home Sweet Home with Dolly Parton. Girls, 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 Smoking in the Boys' Room, Shout at the Devil, Same Old Situation, Don't Go Away Mad, Just Go Away. And, one of my all-time favorites, of course, Dr. Feelgood and Kickstart My Heart. Oddly enough, not really surprised. We don't really get any of the stuff from a John Corabi album or anything off of New Tattoo. You probably wouldn't expect that. And even though John 5 is in the lineup now as a new guitar player, it features a classic cover of the original lineup. So it's Mick Mars that actually appears on the front of the album cover, not John 5, interestingly enough. And then also they feature some of the newer hits like The Dirt. So that's finally featured on the Greatest Hits collection, Saints of Los Angeles. So go out and get the new Motley Crue Greatest Hits album. And if you probably have a lot of these tunes, but I enjoy listening to it on the way home in my car today from work. I got an old CD player in my car. That's always fun to do. You can get it on vinyl. And again, for me, when I put on an album like that, it's just a great kind of flashback to, Motley Crue was one of the many bands that was part of the soundtrack of my life growing up. And so thanks for tuning in to Jrock's Babylon News for October 8th, 2025. We'll see you all again real soon. Take care and bye for now.